Richard Franks is someone I've never met or even worked with yet, but I stumbled upon his very creative Twitter comedy posts, acting out situations, and they were very funny. I wanted to talk to him about his inspirations and passions, as he clearly has a natural comedy ability, and I was delighted with the result when he talks about studying comedy and variety, and he grabbed it by the comedy horns to continue to be creative all throughout lockdown 2020 and 2021. Richard talks of his time in a comedy trio, pantomime with Stephen Mulhern, and working with Paul Hendy, Evolution Pantomimes. He talks about his love for Norman Wisdom, the Marx Brothers, and Buster Keaton, and it's wonderful to see a young talent passionate about legends of comedy, which is what Eyes and Teeth is all about, keeping memories alive from the world of comedy and variety stars. So welcome to Eyes and Teeth, the future stars, Richard Franks.
Hello.
Good morning, Richard.
Hello, Steve.
Your videos actually reach a whole demographic of ages. Do you know what I mean? It really reaches. We were crying.
Say more things like that.
Can you tell me about your history? You did a drama degree in Kent University, and you discovered musical and variety. How did all that go, and what were you studying at the time?
Okay, so I went to Kent University. I did a drama and theatre studies degree. I did the 4-year course, and then I think in third year we did a module called Popular Performance. And each year they get a totally random sort of style of theatre, like a style of performance. So it was by luck that we got music hall and variety.
Amazing.
And I'd literally never heard of it before starting this, because when you sign up to a drama degree, you've got visions of what an actor is, and so got to third year, and then I just this module just opened up music hall and variety, and it just blew my mind. I was like, oh wow, this is just great. So we obviously studied. We looked at sort of like Max Miller and it all going back, sort of Dan Leno, and it sort of just opened up this huge kind of world, and I was like, hang on a minute, I like this. This is
nice.
this is a bit of me. So that's where it started, and then after that module, sort of the final exam, I guess if you call it, was we had to put on a musical show to a public, an audience of the public.
Okay.
And so I got together with a couple of guys in the class, and we did a slapstick comedy trio, and we did it was really, really boisterous knockabout kind of comedy, sort of, I guess, Rick Mayall, Edmondson sort of esque, kind of stuff mixed with sort of like, variety acts we'd seen on sort of online and stuff. A lot of Norman Wisdom was in there and stuff, but
a bit like the Three Stooges type thing, or Marx Brothers.
Marx Brothers, Three Stooges. I mean, Harpo Marx is just a hero of mine, because I was the sort of the fool of the operation, the sort of the idiot really, and which comes very naturally, which is worrying, but it was just, but I loved it. So Harpo Marx, and that sort of later on sort of Normal Wisdom, it was it just really clicked with me, and that's when I sort of discovered it. So we did that was at the university. Then I did the 4th year in Kent, offered this stand-up comedy course. It was like a bit unique, sort of one of a kind, and I was really interested in it. So I did this 4th year masters in stand-up comedy. Now that always sparks a bit of a debate, because people straight away say, oh, we can't teach people to be funny, that you can't do that, which I do agree with completely. You can't. I think people need to have funny bones.
It has to. I think in a way it has to come naturally, doesn't it? And I can see you are a natural performer. I can see the funny bones that you have. You can't learn funny bones.
No, you can't. That's it. You've got to have funny bones. But what you can do, and which was great in this stand-up comedy sort of class, was you can hone it, and you can make your mistakes in a sort of I'm going to sort of say safe space before then chucking it out onto the circuit. And that was brilliant. As a performer, it really toughened me up. I sort of graduated thinking, okay, I can take some heckling. I can, this is. I think I'm a better performer sort of for it, and that was great. We used to have to write weekly material, like new stuff every week, which was tough, and then do it in class, get a bit of feedback, and then we used to have to throw it out in front of an audience every week. So some stuff went down well and was good, and some stuff didn't, and you thought, you walk off thinking, what the hell was I thinking? But it does toughen you up. So degree career-wise, that's what I came away with. It was the musical variety sort of kind of opened up that whole world, and then the stand-up to sort of finish it off, and that's kind of what I left and thought, right, I'm going to carry on and do this, you know.
Wow. I mean, you do have inspirations. I mean, was this before, or was this when you started to discover these people like Buster Keaton and Norman Wisdom? Were they after uni, or did you know about these before you went into uni?
So I guess when we started looking at slapstick specifically, obviously that's when Keaton and Chaplin and the Marx Brothers and the Stooges sort of really came flooding in, and this was about third year of uni. So I guess this would be about, I started in 2009, so this would be sort of 2010 or 11, I guess, sort of around that time. I mean, and that was just amazing. Like these guys, and I just think because when you watch them, you're aware that you're watching people that really helped sort of define comedy.
Yeah,
Like really, and there's just, and that, I don't know, that doesn't come along all the time. And I just think it's just, you're just watching, I mean, geniuses, absolute geniuses at work.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, if anything, I just think when you're laughing at something and it's because of what a performer has done rather than said, maybe, like when it's physical. I love that sort of physical comedy. That I just think, oh, well done. That's just marvellous. That's just the best thing. I mean, and they all just sort of so different. Like my heroes, Keaton totally stone-faced, so he didn't, it was just in his body or in the slight raise of an eyebrow, that was just deadpan. But then opposite to that, I love Norman Wisdom, who was so opposite to that, was, little and energetic and giddy and, was just brilliant.
It's the energy, isn't it? The comedy energy that they give as well in their performance.
I think I got a lot of, obviously when we were doing physical comedy, I got a lot of comparisons to Wisdom because I think people just saw this little guy that was just full of beans, and I always loved that. I used to sort of really thank people if they were like, oh, there's a bit of wisdom about you, and I thought that's great because he's a legend.
Yeah,
I can have an eighth of that.
Yeah, they used to say the same about Lee Evans, about having that energy.
Know. It's amazing actually when you watch Lee Evans. It's I mean, they even look similar, don't they? Like, there's such a comparison there.
They do. And Lee says that Norman Wisdom was not an inspiration. So it's strange, really, to see that there is a comparison, but it's just a natural thing. And I think it's what natural comedy performers have,
Yeah.
It's just...
Definitely. And I think Lee Evans as well really bridges a gap, actually, between sort of physical theatre, like as theatre and stand-up. He's so, I've never seen him stand still. I think he was a real gap, he filled a gap there.
Yeah.
And he was just something else, really, brilliant.
Yeah, it is brilliant. In my early days, now I went to college. It was just, like sixth form college, so I didn't go on to uni, but I went straight into ventriloquism from an early age. So from the age 12 to 16, I was just doing talent shows at school and things, and then age 16 I done the college thing. But we had this thing where I would work in the theatre called Central Studio in Basingstoke, and I would do the lighting and do the splicing of tapes and stuff. I'd learn all that sort of stuff. But people would come in and do their cabarets, and we had one called Al Murray actually had an early character before the pub landlord, so I would look up to him. I think, oh, he's going to be big. You'd see these artists and think they're going to go off and do something bigger. And I'd done it was a talent show in '96. I won a talent show in a club in Slough, and the prize of that was actually going on a local cable station to be on this TV show. And the TV show was hosted by Sacha Baron Cohen, who was obviously Ali G, now one of the biggest comedy stars in the world. So, but I could see that Sacha, only as a presenter, I thought, this guy's got something, And then I could see that Al Murray was going to go on and do something. Omid Djalili, I won a talent. This is all about me, by the way. I won a... I won... Yeah, feel free to ask questions. So I actually...
No, I'm loving it.
Yeah, Omid Djalili was actually called the Short Fat Kebab Owner's Son, and I done a talent competition with him in '96 in London, and so and he's gone on to do massive things. When I come across you a couple of months ago, I started to watch your videos. Like, this guy has got something. I was in stitches. You really have got a natural talent, but you're like a Chaplin-esque type performer, where you're not miming because you are using your voice, but the way you're performing is very Buster Keaton, very Chaplin, but in a really modern way. I really love the way you deliver that comedy.
I think, oh, well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. With me, I think I approach characters, because I love characters. I think, like, characters come first before you actually do any sort of story or anything. So, and I do look at them physically first. So recently I've done a couple of things that, like, mums say at home, and the mannerisms of that mum come first. So, like, you know, and I do think about, like, the walk, her hands, the flick of, because I wear wigs. I mean, any chance to wear a wig, honestly. And I do, like, flick of the hair, and I think once you got the physical bits and bobs down, then you can start talking. You know, not that, I mean, it's not making it sound like some scientific process, but it's definitely, I love between saying stuff, what I say, there needs to be like a hand gesture or a mannerism or even just a look, you know, because that's what people
there is.
That's what makes it a full-bodied character, you know, and I think that's important.
Ice and Teeth.
Yeah, when you deliver the subjects, though, and you do each line, it's not just the line that you're saying. We're watching you, because you're so physical in the face and in the body. We're watching what you do with your hand gestures and what you do when you wink or you look at the camera or you turn away. And you always look like you're talking to someone off camera, but it's the genius of how it comes across, though. Do you know what I mean? Is there anybody there, or is it just you recording on your own all the time?
No, there's nobody there.
It's just you.
Wow. All alone. No, I do. But that's actually something really important. Is I totally imagine that there is. It's probably going to be an issue later on in life, but I really do. I make it like I'm talking to somebody. I think that's part of it. Because when you're doing these online sketches, you know, sort of stuff to camera, you think people are sitting there, and if you can make them feel involved, like they're part of a chat, you know, then that's a good thing, you know.
Yeah, brilliant. Wow. Were you doing these videos before lockdown and COVID came about, or did it come out this year, March onwards?
It's interesting. I've always kept notebooks, and I've always written down when characters have popped into my head, or sentences, or just anything. It always goes in my book. But I've never ever filmed them, and I think I sort of know what it is. I think it's that fear of failing. Basically, I think it's that you're putting yourself out there with something totally different, like these sort of sketches. It is quite scary, and you just think, oh, this could really ruin everything. You know, what if people don't like it? So I think that stopped me for so many years, and I look back and I really regret it. I think, oh, if I'd have started this earlier and put myself out there, you know, like in terms of the sketches, you know, could have got a bit further along by now and stuff. But like we said sort of at the start, the lockdown stuff made me think, well, you know, I like to be busy. I always got to keep busy. So now's the time, Rich. You know, you've got to do it now. Like, you've got, you know, nothing to lose. Let's just do it. And I think I've sort of got rid of that fear of failing, really. Like, I think people will like some stuff and they may hate other stuff. You can't keep everyone happy, but let's just go for it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, and actually, since thinking like that, things I've gone, you know, these sketches and stuff, I'm really happy with what the sort of responses, you know, so I'm sort of, yeah, it's
definitely. There's nothing worse actually than going in hindsight. You know, I wish I would have done something in those 9 months I had off. You know, we all plan. You know, if you're in uni, you have that year out. But when you don't plan a year out, and everyone has to have a year out, what do you do?
Yeah.
So you know, write a book, create something online content, and write a play or do something. So good on you for actually doing it, because it does take energy, and you have to be in the right mind to do it, you know, because a lot of people are affected in different ways, aren't they, during this time?
Oh, definitely. And I think I've got a lot of friends that have struck. Well, to be honest, as have I. I've had those days where I just think, oh, what's it all about? What am I doing? You know,
we do.
Doing? And you do. So it is tough, and it's tough to put yourself in front of the camera sometimes, and you've dressed up as a, you know, a mum, whatever. You know, you got the wig on and all that, and you just think, oh, what if nobody watches this? You know, it is hard, and you do have those down days, as we've all had in this lockdown. I think, everybody has struggled, but obviously performers are just, you know, it's a sad time, really. But it's just pushing yourself, just forcing yourself to do it, and thinking, well, if I was at work, I would be pushing myself. So let's push, you know, let's push now and make this something, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think what we've done, we've all pulled together, haven't we? Entertainers have pulled together, and there are videos out there. There's comedy. We're creating so much, but I mean, we feel like we've been let down by the government. Obviously, we had to push. Well, if we have got anything out of it, we've been let down. But we're sticking together, and we're trying to do what we can to get back out there. And you think on the Titanic, when that was going down, who were the people that were left? It was the entertainers, you know, playing the violin. It was the band, wasn't it? So the entertainers were the last people to actually keep the morale alive, and I think it's the same with Vera Lynn in the war. And you know, so
I think that's you've hit the nail on the head. I think the thing is when things are really bad, people turn to entertainment and the arts and comedy to get away from it.
Yeah.
And when that's struggling, when that's so underfunded and not supported, you know, it really makes me feel. In fact, I remember at the start of lockdown 1, I was obviously feeling a bit, angry, and I think I tweeted that. I just said, please remember that, you know, our darkest times, you've all turned to Netflix and the internet and stuff to just get away from this all. Well, all those people are, you know, drama students or, you know, trained comedians or, you know, writers, performers. So
cameramen,
just remember that. I mean, like, if you took that away, what would you do every evening? You know, it's...
Yeah, definitely.
It is mad, but I think the trouble is when you tell certain people that, they just think, oh, the creatives are off on it again. You know what I mean? Oh, here they go, you know. But it's like, no, but seriously, like, so you can't enjoy it and not support it. You know?
No, sure, but those people that you say were saying that they'll switch off the phone and they go and put EastEnders on or watch a comedy show, and then it's just, you know, defeats the whole thing, doesn't it?
You know, you've got to support actors in the making of things, and you know, it's like saying I love bread, but I'm not a big fan of baking. Do you know what I mean? It's like you've got to support the whole package to enjoy the rewards. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been an eye opener, this lockdown, hasn't it?
I can't believe you said in lockdown 1, because we are counting the lockdowns now, aren't we? That's a crazy thing.
That was lockdown 1. This is lockdown 2.
I'm enjoying lockdown 2. It's better than lockdown 1. You know, we know what to expect, or do we? Yeah. Well, let's get out of this one.
I know. Lockdown 2 felt a bit strange because I think lockdown 1 felt quite apocalyptic, didn't it? The streets were just empty. It was like, oh my gosh, what on earth is going on? And then lockdown 2 is a bit more relaxed. There's cars out on the road and stuff. You know, people are at work, so
school's open.
It's very odd, but it's been easier, definitely.
Yeah, the other end of the spectrum, though, there has been a reach out to pantomimes and the lottery funding with Panto. And in pantomime, you've been described as a ball of energy, which I can see that in your videos. But you're back at Crawley this season. Is that still going ahead?
Obviously, I mean, only found out a couple of months ago or a month ago that it was definitely going ahead.
Wow.
They've got a special sort of socially distanced, COVID-friendly script, and it is going ahead. Yeah, so back at Crawley, I think this is my 5th year there as comedian.
Brilliant.
Really excited. Also very grateful to be back, to be able to go to work and be back on stage. I know it's very hard this Christmas for a lot of performers, so I am incredibly grateful that I'm able to do it.
I know Stephen Mulhern worked there for quite a few years, and they loved him there. Did you replace him or work alongside Stephen?
Oh no! Don't say that. I'll get shot.
No.
No. So actually, the first pantomime I did in Crawley was Snow White, and that was with Stephen Mulhern.
Oh, great!
He's a real Crawley favourite. People love Mulhern. Yeah, that was a good year actually. We had good fun. That was a giggle. But yeah, I don't know when he'll be. I don't know when he'll come back.
He took time out of Panto, didn't he? He actually almost retired.
He's having a break. Yeah, that's what he said. He's just sort of having a break and sort of seeing how it goes, really.
I actually recently re-watched the Ant and Dec when they actually got him backstage at Crawley, you know, when Paul Hendy was backstage with him. And are you working for Evolution and Paul Hendy, or was
That's
it?
right, yeah, so it's an Evolution Panto. Paul Hendy's written the script, yeah.
I love Paul. I done Chatham for Evolution. Paul and Emily, yeah. Loved working with them.
Evolution are great. They're a good company, and I feel like when you talk to them as well, it feels like you're dealing with real people. It feels a bit like sort of family based, which what they are. I mean, they're a family company.
Yeah.
But they're great, and but it was Paul. Really, it was Paul that got me into Panto. He came and saw a show that I did years ago in Canterbury, and then sent me an email saying, "Hey, like, you know, have you thought about doing Panto, come on over," and he offered me Sheffield Lyceum, and that was it really. I have been doing Panto for Evo ever since, you know, so it's fortunate really the way it worked out.
Oh, lovely, that's nice. Yeah, I went straight into Chatham after Britain's Got Talent, actually, after the final, and Paul was trying to. It was Stephen Mulhern actually that told Paul about me, and so he said, "Yeah, Steve's getting through to the live shows, so pay attention." And then Paul called me. And then we were negotiating. So if you kind of get on the live shows, we'll offer you a fee. Yeah. If you get to the semi-finals, your fee will go up. If you get to the finals, you'll get a bigger fee. If you win it, then we're going to have to talk. You know. So I came fourth in the finals, so I settled on a fee that we were happy with. But it was he stuck to his word, and I went to work for him, and I really enjoyed it. He's a lovely guy.
Here's a question actually I've got for you, being a ventriloquist. When you, I've always wondered this. Which way does it work? Do you get a puppet and then look at it and think, right, what's the personality here? Or do you think of a character in your head and then go searching for a puppet? Do you see what I mean? Yeah,
you're more creative than me, Richard. So what I will do is what my wife would say. Steve would look at a puppet idea, get it made up, and then stick it in the loft with the other 20. So what I'm doing, I get this idea. When I got Britain's Got Talent, Nina, my wife, said to me, "You need a Simon Cowell puppet." I had a puppet that could be transformed into him, so we sent him away to a puppet maker, and we sent him to Portugal, and this guy happened to transform puppets into better puppets, and so he did that. I said, "Can you make this look like Simon Cowell?" He said, "I'll see what I can do." 2 weeks before the live shows, he turned up in the post from Portugal. I paid £400 for this renovation, and he looked like Simon Cowell. So I tried to learn the voice, and I'm not an impressionist, but I just learnt a few lines. I wrote Simon Cowell into the live shows, and what happened. But usually I come up with an idea for a puppet, and I go to my puppet makers and say, "I've got this idea," and while they're making the puppet, I write down loads of ideas that I can do with it, and I try and come up with a voice. But I usually end up getting the puppet before the character has arrived in my head. So I will get the puppet, sit in the mirror, and then I would come up with a voice when I've got the mirror in front of me, you know, and then I'd start writing material. It's kind of difficult to write material when the puppet isn't there.
I completely understand that. I think it's like what I was saying with character comes first before talking and stuff. It's a similar thing. You've got to be looking at it it's got to exist, like before anything else can happen.
Yes.
And that's really interesting. I've often wondered that. Interestingly, I watched the Britain's Got Talent episode where you pulled Simon Cowell out yesterday, because obviously I knew I was coming on the podcast, and I was like, right, let's have a stalk of Steve Hewlett.
We're researching each other.
Trawling through the internet and stuff. I love what you do. And
thank you. There's some rubbish on there.
I have seen this £400 renovation in action.
Yes. Yeah, it's brilliant, because that character before Simon was called Butch, and I used him. I used him in 1997 on a TV talent show called The Big Talent Show. Jonathan Ross and Gary Bushell were like the hosts, and funny enough, Stephen Mulhern was on that the year before me, and he, I think, got into the final with Paul Zerdin, who initially won it.
Oh, conversational.
Oh yeah, sorry, that Butch character. He actually was he was like a Casanova, and he had swimming shorts on, but he had a suit. And on the TV show, we ripped the suit off because he said, "I'm the hunk from the trunk." And then somebody behind the camera would pull the suit off, and it would reveal his six-pack and his pants. And it was like a sexy dummy, you know, and he was chatting up the ladies. He was called Butch. And then, but I remember recording on the Big Talent Show, the night I recorded, they pulled the string on the punchline. They pulled the string and it snapped, and the suit hung on. I've never told this before. And the suit hung off the body, and it was just, it got a laugh, but it got a bigger laugh for the reason it shouldn't have. So we stopped the camera, and then while they reset the string and the suit back on the dummy, I was standing there with the naked dummy, and I was ad-libbing with the studio audience and Jonathan Ross. We were like bantering, but the stuff that we done in that like 5 minutes we were pre-setting got bigger laughs than the actual the act, you know. So but I'd got the audience on my side in that time. So when you I don't think it's online, but when you actually watch the spot, the second time the suit rips off, it's really funny because the audience's reaction, I think it sounds fake because it's double what it should be. Do you know what I mean? And, the magic of television. But I think I got a bigger reaction because of that mistake that happened. But I think they respected me a lot more because my ad lib really made them laugh. Because Jonathan Ross was taking the mickey, so it worked.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in that, because first of all, I think audiences love it if they think they've seen something that other people haven't, you know, like when something goes wrong.
Yeah, because it won't go out on telly.
And also, like, all of a sudden, you're like, if something's gone wrong, it obviously shows a little bit of, like, vulnerability, and how you deal with it is so important. And then I think they're like, oh, he's real, like, you know, he's like us, you know, things go wrong for him too, you know, like that's, and I think they probably latch onto that. I think.
I didn't have much confidence when I was in my early 20s. I got confidence really when I met Nina. She really gave me confidence when I was 24 onwards. But so when I done that TV show,
what did Nina bring?
Well, she told me I was better than I thought I was. And she would, so, and she helped me write comedy. And she said, no, don't do that joke. She would watch my act and say, you were really bad tonight. You weren't thinking, you weren't on it. Or she would say, you've done really well tonight. She would give me confidence in that respect where I was never believed in myself. She still does it now, you know. She helped me. I would never have sung that Grease number that I did with Simon and Sunita. I would never have put that in the show. I would have finished on a rap or something cool, you know. But she said, no, do this thing and I'll teach it to you. So she taught me that Grease, that Saturday Night, what was it, Saturday Night Fever or the other one? She taught it to me because that's, you know, she loves Grease and all that. But she said, with Simon and Sunita singing that at the end, it'll be funny. But I thought, how am I going to learn that? So she taught me that, the diction and how to put the song together, you know, and so she helped me write that spot as well, both the spots on TV. So she really did give me confidence, and I think you do need somebody to bounce off as well, which is
do you know what, that is such a good point, and I can totally relate to that, because so my girlfriend Penny, it sounds quite similar to Nina actually. She's very honest with me. Like when something is genuinely funny, she will laugh, like really laugh, and it's just the best feeling when you make them laugh. And then, but if something needs work, then she will also tell me that, and she can be quite blunt, but but you need that honesty.
No, you do, you do.
Because sometimes, you know, you can get carried away with an idea, and then, you know, you think, oh, this is hilarious, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, but Rich, I think that's one of, like, I think you think that's funnier than it is, you know? But I completely get it, though. It is very important.
Yeah, I mean, if Penny or Nina don't laugh, you go, why aren't you laughing at this? This is funny. And
let me explain to you why this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows that if it needs explaining, it's funny.
Yeah.
You got your confidence when you met Nina. You were mid-story.
She just really did give me that confidence, and then we would go on cruise ships together, you know, and she would be in the act. She'd bring characters on, but I in the early days, I started to do my first cruises. I would use her in the act, and it was a bit of a disaster because I would write silly jokes, you know, like I would do the name dropping gag where you just get some names, famous names like Elton, but my puppet would turn around and I would make her drop these names on the floor, you know. It's just like Elton, Michael Jackson, and my puppet would turn around and say, oh, she's such a name dropper. They were really bad gags, right? And so She would say, Steve, don't make me do that again, you know. She was, I'll tell you this honest story. She was standing after she'd done the name dropping thing. They were a terrible audience, this cruise, and I'm not just saying that. They were horrible for every act that were on. I remember this specific cruise. But after Nina done her bit, she went round the back to watch the rest of my show, because she was only in the first 10 minutes. And then she stood next to this passenger who looked at Nina and knew that she'd been on. And she turned round, because I was struggling by this time. I thought, I'm not going to get this audience back. And this guy said to her, and she told me afterwards, she said, he looked at me, she said, "Oh, I feel sorry for you." that was his review. I was struggling. And so, you know, and she was honest, she told me, but then she was devastated really that we had a bit of a bad time. But then after that, cruises do take quite a few cruises or months or maybe even years to get right. It's not easy, that transition from doing the holiday parks to cruises. And so I needed those lessons, you know, and I'm thinking, okay, we'll just drop that routine. And we moved on. And she was never in the act again. So, but I weren't blaming her. It was my fault, you know. So
do you know what, though? You need those gigs. I mean, like, obviously, they do happen and it's a killer. But I remember, this is years ago when I was in my slapstick comedy trio, we used to do a lot of gigs for a company called Comedy Club for Kids. And so basically what it is, it's a stand-up comedy show, but without the naughty bits. That's how they advertise it, and it's great. Like, it's great fun. So families can come and they book professional acts like stand-up comedians, but the rule is, you know, no swearing and etc. But we used to get booked on because we were just a bit of variety. We had a lot of sort of stand-up-y jokes and as well as our physical gags. But I can't remember the venue where we were. In my head, I've got Harlow Playhouse, but I don't think it was there. Because I think I'll be wrong. But anyway, there was two gigs. There was one regular sort of like family gig, and then they said, "Oh, we've also experimented, and we've got like a no adults allowed kind of teenagers audience."
Okay.
And we were like, okay, cool, that's great. Anyway, so this teenage audience gig, this happened. Now, what none of us had really thought about is this is a room full of teenagers that are, you know, and there's that kind of like too cool to laugh.
Yeah, too cool for school.
And we had, do you know what? I think Ian Sterling was comparing, you know.
Oh, right.
This is racking up the memories. He was a very funny stand-up and narrator of Love Island. But he was, I think he was on and went out and he came back and went, "This is horrendous." This is almost like a don't go out there kind of thing. I mean, we did, but that gig will stay with me for a long time because it was just like the room just wasn't right.
No, you remember the bad ones, don't you? That's the thing.
It toughens you up. Also, audiences like that prove to you how fast you can get through a set. you know how fast you can get through.
Oh, this is the speedy version. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned Love Island. Would you do a show like that? I mean, to get your profile out there, because you've got the you've got comedy skill, where a lot of them don't really have much talent, do they? They might have talents, but comedy wise.
No one wants to see my body on Love Island. I mean, for comic value, I'd love all them to walk in, you know, like 6 foot bright white teeth with a quiff, and then I walk in little and bald and
with his mum's wig on.
Yeah, mum's wig. Yeah, trunk full of wigs. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think it depends on the show, really.
Yeah. Would you go in the castle? You know, the jungle castle.
Oh yeah. Now, do you know what? That one, I think I would do that one because I like the mixture of people that you can get in there. I don't know that I say that, but if someone actually said, right, okay, come on, rice and beans every night,
spiders on your head, yeah.
Would you do like the jungle or the castle or?
I would say I think I probably could have coped with that. Well, what Shane Ritchie done the other night was not actually that bad, and I hate spiders, but I may have got through what he did because it didn't look as bad as it used to. But Nina said to me, I wouldn't want you to do it. She wouldn't want me to go through that. Whereas I think I would cheer the camp up. I think have fun, and I think I'll be going over there talking to myself and making things talk and making little rats, talk to people. But I think I think
that's funny.
yeah,
Showing
but
that,
I think she, I think she would see the vulnerable, sensitive side of me come out after a few days. Like, I mean, they're starting to break now, aren't they? And they're only round the corner.
Yeah.
They're only up the M4, you know, so it's not too
Yeah, I
bad.
know.
But
And I think and there is always that danger, isn't there, where, because of course the editing on those shows is so
Yes.
paramount, and I think, like,
It's up to
I
them
don't
who
know,
they
if
show.
you get the wrong edit, you can look like such a knobhead, for lack
Yeah.
of a better word.
Yeah.
And it might not be the case. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might have had such a bad day.
and they'll just, throughout the whole season, they might just show that one day that you were a knobhead and spread it throughout the season. You don't know what they're going to show, do they?
That's it. You can come out of the show thinking, wow, this has boosted my profile, and the public are paying for your blood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's risky. I mean, obviously I'm not in a position where I would be asked to go on it, but if you want my opinion, yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, but I think now they have podcasters and influencers on there, didn't they? People on YouTube, so it's gone that way. I think what we need to do, we need to spread your videos, and you're doing podcasts now, so you do a podcast called A Party at My Place with guests and things on. And I know that you've stalled them at the moment, but they could come back. It's a lot of hard work to do.
100%, yeah.
By the way, I
Yeah,
love rice
episodes
pudding.
unedited.
Yeah, I love rice pudding too. By the way, you did.
Excellent.
You had your first guest was David Reeby, which is brilliant, and you both made a brilliant video called "Mysterious Times," which to the tune of Peter Andre's "Mysterious Girl." It's really well executed. It's so well executed with the lyrics and again your comedy abilities, you know, visually. So how did that come about?
That's something. The songs, like funny songs as well, that's a recent thing in terms of confidence. Like you sort of talking about confidence earlier on. I've never sang. Like growing up, I've never sang. I just, I've always tried to perform at school and stuff, but I have never sang. But I love comedy songs. Absolutely love them. And so that's a really new thing, probably because of lockdown again. Actually, that I thought, well, let's just give it a go. You know, let's sort of throw it out there. And obviously, I worked with Dave Reeby in Panto last year, and he's just got this fantastic voice. So I sort of thought, hang on a minute, if I start out, if I do vocals alongside him, if push comes to shove, I'll just turn him up, and I can be the face of it. Of course I can, but I'll turn him up, and that'll be great. As it happened, luckily,
great contrast.
I didn't have to do that.
Yeah, it was a great contrast, really nice. And you also done. We have something in common as well, Richard. We both recorded our own version of "Thank You Baked Potato" with for Matt Lucas, and he liked our videos, didn't he, on Twitter, which was nice. That was good fun to do.
Fantastic! I haven't seen yours. I need to watch this.
I'll send you a link. But I enjoyed yours and David's. That was really nice because vocally it was fun.
That was the first little bit of singing that happened with me and Dave. Yeah.
Ah, brilliant. Yeah, and forgive me if I'm wrong here, but did I see a small cameo of you in Justin's house?
Oh, yes. So that was... Oh, of course. So we did... Actually, right, I'm going to tell you... Let me tell you a story, right? So this is funny. So when I was in the comedy trio, one day we got a phone call. We got literally straight out of the blue. We got a phone call from a producer from CBeebies, and they said, "We're making a new show, and we're looking for a slapstick comedy trio. Now we've put that into YouTube, and you three have come up. Would you be interested in making a pilot for a show?" And obviously we were like, "Okay, well let's just check the diary. Yeah, we're absolutely free. That's fine.
Yeah.
No problem." So we filmed. So we did a pilot for this show called Spotbots, and we had to play three sort of slapstick aliens that had sort of landed on Earth, and they're going around with cameras and they take snapshots of life and stuff, and then the kids get tested on things we've seen at the end, like little questions they've got to answer, and it was good actually. Anyway, we did the pilot, and then it was a year and we didn't hear anything, and we got another phone call sort of out of the blue that just said, "Oh, hi, us again. Listen, they've decided to make a series. Are you still free?" Again, we were like, "Yes, we're free." So we made this show called Spotbots, and it was great fun. So off the back of that, yes, they got the aliens to go to visit Justin's house, like aliens crash landing.
Yeah.
And that's how we got on the Justin's house. And we also then, from that, got this, we had to play these three chefs, like cake experts. And this was a lot of fun. I don't know which one you've seen, aliens or cake experts.
I think I saw an alien type thing, but it was a very quick clip that I saw online. So are they out there online?
So I think, I don't know. I know the Justin's house episodes are still doing the rounds because
Okay.
I occasionally, like, friends with kids send me screenshots like, oh, no, that's your face. So I know they're still around.
Yeah, my girls still watch it, which is really nice to see. But it looked like you're having crazy fun in the studio. It looks like a great atmosphere at Justin's house.
Do you know what it is? Actually it's brilliant. The whole team are good. It's a really good cast, and Justin is he's so talented. Like watching him rehearse was really, really good because he's got a really natural physical comedy, a bit like sort of Laurel and Hardy kind of thing. He's so in the episode we did when we played these three chefs, he had to pour orange squash over my lap, like he gets sort of spilled and then I get covered in juice. And then in between the shots, he started doing this stuff with cups and he was like dropping them and juggling them a bit and stuff. And it was so good. Unfortunately, there wasn't any time, like it didn't end up in the episode, but I thought that's a real skill. Like he's a really good performer. So it was really nice working with him, actually. Like really, yeah.
Well, he's a legend, isn't he?
A lot of fond memories.
Children's television, complete legend. Like Rod Hull and Imyu, it's a little bit like that, isn't it? Rod Hull's Windmill, which you might not remember. Do you remember Rod Hull?
Jog my memory. What would I think?
Rod Hull and Imyu, he may have passed away before you were even in school. I'm not sure. So he's got his hand up a big bird, ostrich, Imyu. So.
Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on. Was he? Was he in a video of? Did he do like a Peter Kay? Was it like a comic relief or a children in need?
Oh no, you might be thinking Bernie Clifton. Bernie Clifton and his bird, his ostrich.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you a clip of Rod Hull. He's a legend.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Back in May, also you made another video of your reaction to Trump's Dettol, the drink habit. That's a brilliant piece. Really nice. So you're being really topical as well with your content.
Yeah, and that's the first time making that song. That's the first time I've ever been political in any way, really. I don't really go in for all of that. I like to try and make stuff that can appeal to sort of everyone. Like everyone can see a bit of something, and and I don't try and put myself on either side of the coin because I don't want people to think, no, I'm not watching him because he's into all that kind of thing. I like to keep myself a bit neutral. But that one, I just when I saw when Trump with the sort of the cleaning and the sort of the bleach stuff, whatever. It was so
brilliant.
I just thought, I'm gonna have a pop at that.
Yeah, it was a good parody. Really nice.
That was fun. Do you know what? That recently got shared by. There's an online sort of entertainment page called The Hook, and that recently got shared by The Hook. And obviously they've got an audience all over the world, and so for the first time, a lot of American people were seeing it, and it mixed mixed reviews. The Trump supporters really didn't take kindly to that, which I sort of secretly enjoyed that, really.
Yeah,
of course. That was funny. It was.
Well, it gets spread more, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I don't touch on any of the politics or anything, but saying that, just before our Prime Minister became Prime Minister, Boris, I actually got a Boris puppet made up, and I started to tweet some videos of just me, and I wasn't venting, I was just puppeteering, I was off shot, so it was just kind of doing a couple of songs or a couple of little messages of Boris, just making fun of his messages that he used to send out, and but then that's another example of just getting a puppet and then not knowing what to do with it at the end.
Oh, so what's your Christmas show about? Tell me about that.
It's just a normal Christmas show, which I was booked on in February, and then lockdown happened, but it's still going ahead. So it's in Clacton at the Westcliff, and we got proper variety show. So there's singers, dancers, myself as host doing some ventriloquism, and we're actually. I spoke to the producer yesterday. We're doing the old classic "Not Upon the Stage," but I think I'm changing it. Actually, writing it tonight, and we're calling it "Not Upon the Stage." There's something else I would retrain to do, which is we're keeping it updated, so I'm rewriting it. He wants it updated. So so I think the variety shows, they have to cut out the intervals, so they are the pantomimes as well. I think they have to be like 75 to 90 minutes without a break. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we're in Crawley, so this year, we're doing 70 minutes straight through.
Yeah. Wow, it's gonna be tough, isn't it, to get the whole story and in there.
I
But
know it's going to be very interesting this year. Very interesting.
yeah, we'll find out soon.
To be continued.
Which of the videos are your favourite? I'm just going to read a few titles out. If your cat could talk, hilarious. Annoying things you hear at your office, things your teacher said at school, spelling on the phone, terrible things to say in a job interview. Have you got any favourites? They're really funny.
That's a tough question actually, because often because you never really know how people are going to react to videos. So obviously the ones that have gone really viral, I mean, have a way of becoming your favourite because you're like, oh, people like that. But so for example, mums with teenagers has really gone viral, like a bit overwhelming. Like somebody tagged me in it the other day, and people have been sharing the video on Facebook, but but I hadn't been sort of tagged in it, so I wasn't aware that it was going around, and it's been just shared thousands and thousands of times. And people were like, "Oh my gosh, this is you!" Like this is you, sort of thing. So I've sort of been writing on it, saying, "Hello everyone, this is me." You know, you can see more of my sketches if you follow my page. But so I like mums with teenagers. If your cat could talk, I did have fun with, because I've never really been a cat person.
No.
But I've been around cats a lot. I mean, you know, so that was fun because I've got a lot of friends with cats. If spelling on the phone is funny, I mean, I find funny because that is true. That is observational to me. When I have to spell things on the phone phonetically, I turn into a complete moron. I do,
and it's different every time. When you're talking to Vodafone and you have to do the phonics, or what's that word you have to do, and it's really
spell it phonetically. Yeah.
phonetically, yeah.
And to the point where I genuinely said once, when she was like, "Oh, what was his name, Richard?" and I had to spell it, and I went Arthur. And I couldn't think of a single thing, so I just went Arthur Richard because that's my name. And the people around me just burst out laughing because they were like, "Richard, you just sound like such an idiot," which I am. But it's just, So that video, I do love that one. That's a funny one because I think we're all a bit like that.
I think they really work because you're connecting them, like Michael McIntyre, Lee Evans. You connect it with real life situations, and I think everyone can relate to it. And I think that's why they get really, really viewed and laughed at a lot. And I think, do you know what? One of them that you're going to touch on that is whether it's the cats talking, or one thing that I've watched a couple of times is the different types of laughter. And my wife and daughter were in tears yesterday because laughter creates laughter, and people need to laugh right now. So I think once you touch on, when I sent out a video of Boris Johnson 10 minutes after he'd done one of his videos, I think I got about 50 to 60,000 views in a couple of days because it was topical, you know. So if you're touching on something that Trump says, like you say, the Trump one, you know, it will spread because it is topical. So if you link it with a story of the day and people find it funny, and I'll keep watching yours because I know that you're going to come up with one. And once they get that, you know, one that gets 1 million hits, they're going to go back and look at all of your videos like I have. So you're just waiting for that magic moment, aren't you? And I think that's when it will take off.
Just need that one to really fly. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. But you're right. It's got to be topical. I think people need to be able to see themselves in it, or see somebody else in it that they know that's close to them. Or you're right. It needs to satisfy a need, like right now, like just like laughing and sort of a bit of escapism. You know. Do
a lot of them make yourself laugh, and you have to refilm them, or do you just leave that in if you're laughing? Because they are so funny. How do you get through them?
So the first one, I think it was the first one I ever made, was things that bald people hear all the time. Now, being bald, I've heard them all, you know, over the years, because people always think they're the first one to make a bald comment to you. Yeah. And so I thought I could totally do a compilation video about that. And they're not even all insults. Like, it's even the supportive people as well. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've been told, "Oh, but you've got a really good shaped head for it." Like,
really?
To bald people all the time. And because they're like, you know, like, "Oh, it'd never suit me, but oh, you've got a great shaped head for it," right? So I was like, these things are all, you know, so I put them all in this video. And that video did make me laugh because I could hear these people saying it to me as I was doing it.
Yeah.
And I did this one sketch where I used, I mean, talk about no expense spared. I put my cap on backwards and I was using a sock as a fringe, and I did like a little exhale, like a kind of with my lips, and the sock slipped up onto the top of my head.
Oh, brilliant.
And it really made me laugh, and I left that in, just that little smirk. I actually did leave that in because it really made me laugh. And like you said, people like to see when things have gone wrong, so I was like, no,
Yeah.
that can stay in.
Yeah, outtakes.
They-
You should leave some outtakes in, yeah.
They do make me laugh, so, like some do. The ones I've rehearsed less often make me laugh because it's a bit new, you know. Like if I've really
Yeah.
thought about the lines, then obviously it's less funny for me because I know it. But if it's a bit more improv-y, then sometimes I think, you know, I'll have a giggle.
Sketch comedy to me doesn't get any better than the play that goes wrong. Have you seen the play that goes wrong? I mean, I could see you in that. It's something like you like to be part of.
I would. Honestly, yeah, I'd sell a kidney to get in with those guys. I just because it's physical and it's fun and things are supposed to go wrong, and that is just what I do.
Yeah.
I'm so good at doing things wrong. So I would. I love the play that goes wrong and their whole sort of image. And what a thing to stumble on for those guys. Like they literally, the marketing is, you know, it goes wrong. People know what they're coming to see.
And if it goes wrong, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And I think there's a little bit of a. We had, to begin with, when I did the slapstick, like toured doing slapstick comedy, sometimes it's hard to market it these days because people hear the word slapstick and they do think old-fashioned. Like
Musical,
straight away
yeah.
Go, oh, you know, that's old. But of course, we really did modernise it, and I think people forget that there's sort of slapstick everywhere, and things are just funny.
Yeah.
So I think those guys just hit the marketing so perfectly because they went, this is the play that goes wrong, things will break and people will fall over. And people have gone, okay, great. We'll go and enjoy that, you know, and it's brilliant.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. I'm trying to get one of those guys on the podcast because it'd be amazing to hear about behind the scenes and things and how it came about.
Yeah.
But it's
Well, they've
brilliant.
got a brilliant story because I remember years ago, this is quite a lot of years ago, being at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Okay.
And a lot of them, from the guys that started it, they used to be an improv comedy group. I want to say Lights, Camera, Action or something like that. And
Yeah.
I remember being on the Royal Mile, handing out leaflets every day as you do, and talking to them. And then when the sort of play that goes wrong and Mischief Theatre just like exploded,
Yeah.
I remember thinking, oh my God, it's those guys. Like, it's those guys from that improv show. So I bet they've got a good story to tell.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
Oh, amazing.
You should,
I start to think about titles that we can give to Richard, and I'm sure people will write in. I'm sure people give you ideas. But when I'm on cruise ships, you always get passengers come up. What passengers would say to an entertainer? Oh, you should be professional, you know. And there's hundreds. If you speak to entertainers on cruise ships, they could give you 100 ideas, and I could see that going viral.
I like that. You know what? I might have to have that because I've got. Because actually, yeah, I've had a little taste of that. Also, like when you come off stage, a lot of people do like to tell you, like, for example, things like, "Oh, you know, I used to do a bit of acting."
Yeah,
I used to do a bit. And you go, "Oh, do you?" And then it turns out it was like 20 years ago. They did a school production of Wind in the Willows. You know, it was,
and they were
it was
4.
very good.
Yeah.
But you're right though. That's a very good. Well, if you think of any titles, do send them over because I'm always.
I will do. I'm thinking entertainment based. So I think when I was on the ships as well, I just done my full ventriloquist show, and somebody came out and say, "Oh, I enjoyed that. Have you ever thought of being a magician?" You know, and they just insult you, but they think they're being helpful. You know, and
I know.
I'll think of some lines.
Do you know what I find tricky as well sometimes is when you sort of say, people ask you what you do and you sort of say comedian or something, and they do automatically think stand-up, like, which I do. I mean, I do a bit of stand-up.
Yeah.
I did this year in February, and then the world went into lockdown, and that was the end of that for a while.
Yeah.
But it was... but they just assume stand-up, and then when you say you're something else, sometimes you see eyebrows raised, don't they? They're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I haven't seen that on the Apollo, so you know.
Oh, really?
No, no thanks. Yeah.
Well, you say that. I saw Terry Alderton, and he done this way out stand-up act on the Apollo. Have you seen Terry Alderton on the Apollo?
I don't know if I've seen him on the Apollo. I have seen his sketch. We did. I did a gig at Lounge of the Farm Festival years ago, and he
Okay.
was the headline act.
Right.
So I have seen his stuff live. I know
Yeah.
he's out there.
Oh, it's so way out there. Yeah, I'll try and send this Apollo clip to you with him. But you say about eyebrows and stuff. I mean, he stands on his head and his feet are doing the act. It's incredible. But I mean, so there is no. I mean, funny is funny to me. And if you're doing stand up, if you're doing it with your face, Jim Carrey started doing stand up. And he had people on their feet every night because he was using his face. So, don't listen to the people, listen to your heart. And thank you so much for sharing all of your comedy with us. I appreciate it. And I've got you in the early stages because, I won't be able to get Ali G, Sasha on now because, so I've got you just before you're going to get out there, and I appreciate your time. And good luck with it, mate.
Stop it.
All you need, isn't it?
Honestly.
All you need is that one big break, and I can see the talent that you have. So keep sharing it.
I genuinely appreciate that, and I really appreciate you inviting me on the podcast. This is honestly, it's lovely, and I'm so happy to talk about comedy, and and I love what you do as well. So it's been a great chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. It's been interesting. It's been really good fun. Thank you so much. Good luck in Panto, and I hope I can get you a few more followers because it'll be so nice to see you spread the word. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Steve. This has been lovely.
Cheers,
Talk
buddy.
to you soon. Bye.
Take it easy. Bye.
Ice and Steve.
Thank you, Richard. I'm sure he's going to go really far. He's a natural and he knows the funny. To see Richard's online content, follow him on Twitter at Richard_Franks. Richard Franks Comedy on Instagram and TikTok, where he now has over 194,000 followers. And on Facebook, he's known as Richard Franks. And he's on YouTube. His channel is called Richard Franks. You definitely won't forget his name now. Richard's one-man show is also in the making, so follow him now for more news. Today's comedy quote comes from improvisation comedy great Eddie Izzard. Never put a sock in a toaster. Eyes and Teeth is written, produced and hosted by Steve Hewlett. Vocals by Lola, Nina and Larissa Hewlett. Additional vocals by Rich T. The Eyes and Teeth jingles and theme music are all produced and performed by the wonderful Mr. Kevin Dean. Join me for my penultimate Eyes and Teeth special, Future Stars, when I talk to the UK's future of ventriloquism and popular personality, Max Fulham.